Number 16, Frank. Number 16. We're moving right along on this list of yours. Number 16 is Deceived. Deceived is a 1991 mystery thriller directed by Damian Harris. Stars Goldie Hawn, John Hurd, and Ashley Peldon. Deceived is the story of a woman who meets a mysterious man after she gets stood up on a blind date. They end up getting married, and then one day, he ends up dead. But the mystery has just begun. So your thoughts on Deceived were a forgotten 90s thriller that I find enjoyable because it can be seen as a Home Alone sequel. You'll see, hopefully. I did not. Well, maybe. No, okay. I can see it a little bit. The ending, I can understand how you could tie those two things in together. But you're stretching it. I'm gonna be honest with you, dude. You're stretching it. So my thoughts on Deceived. This was one of the few that I'm gonna be really honest with you and say, like, I did not like this movie. I thought it was boring. I thought that I've seen this exact movie a million times. I mean, I could tell you what was going to happen for the most part in this film within the first like 20 minutes of it. There was a few parts where genuinely I was kind of like, it was kind of suspenseful, and there was like one or two parts where I genuinely didn't know what was going to happen. But for the most part, like, I pretty much figured it out very early on. And the thing is, like, I don't want to say too much because I don't want to spoil anything. So I'm just going to spoil some stuff. To be honest with you, I don't really recommend that you watch this movie anyway. So spoilers probably shouldn't matter. But in case they do for you, and you do for some reason want to watch Deceived, I will put a time code somewhere on the screen that will tell you where to jump to so that you can skip the spoilers. Okay, so Goldie Hawn plays this woman, Adrienne, who is looking for love. She goes on a blind date, gets stood up, but there's this guy in the restaurant by the name of John Saunders, who is played by John Hurd. And
I heard your dad went into a restaurant and ate everything in the restaurant, and they had to close the restaurant.
they kind of like have a moment there in the restaurant, but like it doesn't really, it doesn't really lead to anything. She just kind of walks out realizing that she's been stood up by the guy that she was supposed to meet. Next day, John Saunders ends up at the place where Goldie Hawn works. They meet up, they start going out, they get married, they have a kid. And then one day, John Saunders dies. He's in a car accident. They find a body. He's dead. But he's not really dead. Yeah. Called that one. After he dies, she starts kind of going through his stuff and she starts realizing that, things are not what they seem. Ultimately, she finds out that, like, the person that she married stole the identity of someone else and has been living out that life for many years. And she begins to question the fact of whether he is actually dead or not, because things are happening, and they're kind of like not explainable, and he's not dead. He faked his own death, put a hitchhiker in the car burned up. They couldn't identify who it was, so they just knew that there was a body in the car, so they assumed that he died. So this dude decides that he needs to come back for something. So he makes up this story and leads her to believe that there's somebody that's after him, and that's why he's done all this stuff. But in reality, it's like there is no other person, it's just him. And that was one of the things that actually did kind of get me, was like, I did genuinely think at that point that like he had faked his own death because he was trying to avoid this other person who was coming after him. Like that kind of made sense to me, you know, but then you find out that there is no other person, you know, it's just him lying. He just lies about everything. Okay, so now that spoilers are out of the way, my big problem with this film, like I said, is that it's just completely predictable. You know, this story has been told a million times. This is a Lifetime movie. You know, there's nothing even remotely original about it. You know, it's got the Lifetime movie script to it. The difference is they cast Goldie Hawn, who in 1991 was still, you know, pretty popular, could still sell a movie by herself, you know. And I'm sure the reason that she did this is probably because she was wanting to get some serious roles. Goldie Hawn typically is known as a comedic actress, but you can't be a comedic actress forever. You know, you get to a certain point, it's like you have to either be Meryl Streep or you end up making the films that Goldie Hawn eventually ended up making, which are like where you team up with 2 or 3 other women like Diane Keaton and you make these comedies that like only old women go see. I feel like I'm kind of being a dick saying it like that, but like that's the reality.
You either die a hero or you live long enough to see yourself become the villain.
I can understand why she would have taken Deceived. It's something to maybe like stretch out her acting chops a little bit. But the thing about it is like, you know, God bless her, she's just not a dramatic actress. She just doesn't have that kind of range. Like, she's a comedic actress, she's great at it, but she just can't pull off, you know, drama. She just kind of has this like empty face most of the time. Like when she's trying to show emotion, she's at like a, you know, her emotions need to be at like a 7 or an 8 and they're at like a 2, you know? It's just like, Goldie, I need more from you. Come on, you got to give me more. John Hurd plays the husband. I like John Hurd as an actor, but to be honest with you, it's like I think part of it is the script, but it kind of feels like he's phoning it in a little bit on this one. It's like he's not really doing anything like, you know, amazing with this role. Should he be in this movie? Arguably, you could say that there is not really any room for him to explore in this. I mean, his role is pretty straightforward. It's a pretty straightforward mystery thriller. The argument can be made that there's not really anything for him to do here. But, you know, I feel like I've seen some pretty good stuff from John Hurd in the past, and I would have loved to have seen him dig into this a little bit more and really bring something that I wasn't expecting, maybe, to the role. Maybe the director didn't let him do that. I don't know. You know, maybe he wanted to, but he just didn't have the time, or, you know, he didn't have the support. But, you know, ultimately, I think that, you know, this movie as a whole is like, it's not bad. It's just not good. So do I recommend this movie? No, absolutely not. If you're anybody other than Frank, please do not waste your time with Deceived. Please. You know, Goldie Hawn, if you happen to be watching this right now, you've made other great films. You should be proud of them. Please don't hate me for hating Deceived. So, but it's garbage. It's garbage. Anyway, so the next film, number 17 on the list, is hopefully going to fare better than that. It is Presumed Innocent, and it stars Harrison Ford. And I remember this film coming out, but I never saw it because I was too young, but it was in the 90s, and I remember it. So I'm interested to see it. Anyway, that's it. That's what's coming up next. And Frank, I hope you're having a good one. I hope you're having a good day. Everybody else, I hope you have a good day too. I would really appreciate it if you would like, share, subscribe, all that kind of stuff. I am working on some other stuff, as I've said in previous videos. I'm going to be working on a director series focusing on Kurosawa. All of his stuff is on Criterion Channel right now. Not all of it, but most of his stuff is on Criterion Channel right now. So I'm going to be rolling through those over the coming months and doing video content about that. I'm also going to be doing video content on a couple of other directors. I am still going to do adaptations. I need to write a script for Oil and There Will Be Blood, and that's what's holding that up. Is I have to actually like sit down and like write a script and shoot that, maybe get a teleprompter for it, because it's going to be a bear. That video is going to be a bear. I tried genuinely to like sort of, push through it, just with my thoughts, and I couldn't do it. Like I tried like 5 times and I couldn't do it. So I'm just going to have a script and make my way through it. Hopefully that stuff will start coming out soon. So until next time, Frank and whoever else is watching, have a good one.